What's this one about then?
Evening all.
Let's start the music.
Right, welcome back to part 2 of episode 68 of the Malt Travel podcast. We've refreshed ourselves and rejuvenated ourselves and got over Bruce's slagging off of ginger pig sausage rolls. That was Bruce's own personal opinion and not reflecting of.
He was quite right.
In the same way
when you had to have a hot savoury, especially with pork meat in it, it can be very greasy, can't it, Bruce?
You can, yeah. I think you need to try them again when they're cold to give it.
Some people like pork pies warm. I probably prefer a pot pie, not freezing cold, but cold. Certainly with scones. I don't like hot scone because of indigestion. So quite right, Bruce. I'll give you that one.
I was a victim of your own impatience, though.
And on the same vein, Humphrey Smith just reminded that Bruce and ourselves are, Bruce in particular is a very regular customer of yours. And I think if he stopped going to some of your establishments, although he only has a half a nut brown ale these days.
Once again, the best way to dismiss rumours is to actually tell the truth and tell us what's happening. Because I had that from one of your bar staff down in London. And I was told, he's retired from the business now.
You'll be very happy, Mr. Martin, because you get free advertising every time we do the podcast. So I'm sure you can't moan about us occasionally.
He's a good man.
A slight dig.
Did anybody see him on Robert Peston? I've not watched it yet. I was quite keen to see it, but I've not got around to seeing it yet. Because normally he only sort of gives interviews to people who are going to be friendly, but I thought it might have got put through the ringer a bit by Robert Peston. He was on last week. I'll have to try and watch it on some catch-up service.
That must have been one of the first interviews Tim Martin's ever had where the person interviewing him's got worse hair than he has.
Now, Bruce, there's a Wetherspoons here that you've actually taken a picture of somewhere in the middle of London. The real moon, is it?
In Rochdale, as is one beneath it. We've been talking about going to Rochdale for a while because somebody told me about the Bomb pub, and so one day we set off to go. We'd also been told about amazing things about the town hall. And I have to say, if you're doing these podcasts, I suppose one of the great things that occasionally you find little hidden gems, and especially in places being slated, like poor Rochdale is, it is a fantastic day out. So we got there first of all and saw this huge Wetherspoons, this ex-cinema there. This is smack bang in the centre of town. You have to say it's a building that really enhances the townscape as well, really, because the way they preserved it inside. You can see they've still got an upstairs, they've got an old organ there, a bit of a 1930s film theme going. Ben, can you shut that door, please? And a vast beer range. I mean,
Ben's
again,
Bruce's butler, because
very much.
Bruce actually works, for a train company now that basically collects all the money from us, the taxpayers.
So I think got that. But I say a huge range of cask beers on it, really rock bottom prices, big mix of people. But yeah, we'll definitely take a peep if we go in there. Say it's an old cinema, and really you think without Wetherspoons, what would that building have been like, really? So I say you had to quite like that one. But from there we went to our one of the places we went to. Rochdale, of course, is home to the. Ben, can you close that door? Rochdale's home to the original.
Bring me a crumpet.
I know, home to the original pioneers, and anyone looking at YouTube, the building to the left is actually the building where the co-op pioneers had the meeting place to start the whole cooperative movement. I did think it could be slightly better than the museum. I thought it might have been a recreation of a shop there. But there's some quite interesting displays there, some old goods there, and of course, when you see the history of it and how it was a model for cooperative throughout the world. It was really quite lovely to be in there, really.
Is it like the Boys Museum upstairs in Bridlington, Starbros?
No, they got a museum in Bridlington.
Yeah, Boys have got a museum in their top floor of the store in Bridlington.
Wow, how astonishing is that?
Yeah, you'll be heading there next, won't you?
There's a pub next door to the co-op museum. Did you pop in there? Is it
that was the reason for going, actually. The Barn pub, I've been told about the Barn pub. We want to go for ages. Two very good ones about the Barn and the Flying Horse. And I have to say the Barn is a stunning pub, right down our alley. Tons of memorabilia in there. I was got a bit of a dining room towards the back where there are a lot of Lancashire delicacies. One thing I liked about Rochdale was they're really big on supporting the local suppliers. It's home to Rochdale, you get the rag pudding everywhere, although it's made in Oldham. They're massive supporters of the rag pudding, which is essentially a big roll, a flaky roll that's rolled up and full of minced beef, like a rolled up suet, and it's open at the ends. one of those bizarre northwestern delicacies. Yeah, the Bourne pub though, if anyone listening to this, is absolutely stunning pub, great range of beers, very, very keen pricing as well, incredibly well kept beers, lots of beers there from Lancashire Brewery. So we went to the Bourne. We did probably the Flying Horse, which again was really good. Not as patch of the Bourne though.
Did you say Lancaster Brewery, Bruce?
Lancashire rather, yeah.
All right. No, I was just going to say, I think they won. Did they win a camera award at the beer festival for their Lancaster Dark, as it called, Lancaster Black?
You did, yeah.
I'm just reading the Good Beer Guide. There seems to be Pictish at the beers. The Barham has Pictish on. The Flying Horse has Pictish beers on. The Dale Ale House has Pictish beers on. So there seem to be. Don't know. There again, a brewery that I've not come across.
Yeah, there's a lot of those Pictish stuff. Yeah. So I say, so two great pubs and an interesting Wetherspoons. But the highlight of the day was for us as well was actually was going to the town hall. Thinking, oh, town hall. And it must be Britain's biggest kept secret. We'd heard all sorts of bits about it. I mean, it was built by in the time at 8 times over budget. But would it spoil it if you're going to go? But it's truly amazing. There were times in there you could have thought it was the Palace of Versailles. You're smack bang in the middle of Rochdale. They have a fantastic team of guides.
And some pictures. I know you. Maybe I didn't put them in. Oh, it's there, isn't it, Bruce? That's it.
It's absolutely astonishing. They've got a team of volunteers who take you around. They're so proud of it. Been proud to be there really because of course Rochdale has had a terrible time the past few years. That gave rise to a terrible scandal that opened up the whole debate about political correctness. It's a town that's really been dragged through it. But this place is absolutely astonishing. And say if you are looking at YouTube, I think I'm exaggerating. Just take a look at that. The history in that building was absolutely awe-inspiring. And
best of all, Wetherspoons that.
Yeah, well, they already got Wetherspoons. But I said the best thing of all is the reason that triggered our interest in going was when Jay Rayner, before he resigned from the Guardian, did a review of something called the Market Kitchen. And it's where somebody left Rochdale wants to come back and give there. So they brought to town hall and he set up a fantastic restaurant doing astonishing food with great service at really astonishing prices. We did get a booking, went there with about £15 for main course. The food was stunning, the service was stunning, lots of young kids coming on there working on it. And you sat in the bottom of the town hall. They're not quite grand as that. But I say if you go to the Guardian, put Jamie in the Market Kitchen, read the review, that was what triggered our trip. And it was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it was great to see.
Did they have any beer on, Bruce?
Adam?
Did they have any beer on?
The Market Kitchen had some selection of local bottles on, no draft beer. I mean, it's the gas destination, but I say the food we had was absolutely astonishing. We went for lunch and on a night they do it goes to sort of 4 nights, but they do a fine dining menu. I think you get 3 course about 40 quid, which would be about 3 times that in London. Yeah, definitely recommended. Down to Rochdale, I say. But beyond all the stereotypes, we absolutely loved it. We'd certainly go back for you two. We'd have to go. You'd love it.
So, right, so we've ticked London off, we've ticked Rochdale off. We've now got to go up to the northeast and over the border to Edinburgh. So Bruce managed to get some well sought after tickets for a particular Toon game. Although he looked like he got very short served 2 pints of Guinness there in the
bloody hell.
They've got big,
rather
British Vickers pints. Them look at white collars on them.
Pope's
I know.
Jesus. I mean, Telly's glasses as well. Shocking.
So I've been by the Tyneside Irish Centre without ever going in, and then my son had been and said you can kind of go in. They have a lady there with a bucket. I'll just shut this door. Honest to God.
Put a bucket for the IRA.
Sack the butler.
So there we went and you go and I say, and rather bizarrely, there's a location. It's kind of in the shadow of St James's. But the Irish Centre also sits in the shadow of that huge Chinatown arch. The Will's unlikely set for an Irish Centre. But when you went in there, got a proper northern working class vibe. Tons of staff on for match days. And yeah, to say, what could you say about the Guinness? It was very good. But look at the head on it. Really. In Irish, it was quite shocking.
You could get served, at least, like you say. You got served. It was an hour before kickoff, and he's still. It's busy, but it's not mad, is it? It's not.
No. And I mean, that Strawberry, the famous Newcastle pub, that is horrendous in there. I go in there and I feel claustrophobic. But yeah, I have to say, if every Newcastle bar again, the place has the eyeballs on. But the Irish Centre, I would definitely recommend it. A real throwback, and I suspect it's match day income is what probably keeps it ticking over, really, because it is smack bang in the middle of Newcastle City Centre with like hundreds of other places in competition with it. So I've been a blessing where it is. But yeah, definitely a location. And then finally, I think went to Edinburgh, didn't we, to another maiden pub. We had a day up in Edinburgh. And again, I've never been to the Cafe Royale, which is bonkers because it's a very, very famous. Have you two been here?
Yeah, been in there.
Yeah.
I like the lobster wallpaper when you go down to the gents'
Yeah.
toilets. Is it still there?
Yeah,
Jackie likes it in there.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, it really has to be, I would say, one of the finest pubs in the country, hasn't it? I mean, I was totally unprepared for the sort of splendor and
Is that the one that's
grandeur.
got the little table up on like a mezzanine, like almost like an orchestra pit? Is
Yeah, I
that
think it is, yes.
Cafe Royal?
Yeah,
I
near the door when
don't
you go in
know.
there.
There's one little table that's kind of raised up with everybody. I presume that's where they put a little orchestra.
Yeah,
I don't
think
think you
you're
see
right,
it
yeah.
in those. Yeah, so
No,
the
I think you're thinking of the one that's at the start of that street that runs parallel to Prince's Street. This is sort of on a block on its own, and it's very much a big island bar, and then the prime position is to sit at the bar, because literally there's a row of benches all the way around the 360 bar, and then obviously you've got seats around the perimeter of the room.
We've never been. You have to hunt it out again. It wasn't outrageously priced. Had a decent selection of local regional Scotch beers on there. And then when going to Lou, again at the back of it, they got this stunning oyster bar, which wasn't too busy for a Saturday afternoon. But whoever's I don't know who owns it, but they're trying desperately hard to keep the heritage alive. And like Nick says, it's hard seeing the photographs, but actually all revolves around an incredibly ornate island bar, doesn't it, Nick? But it's certainly an absolute spectacle for your pub.
It's a big oblong shaped building, really, isn't it? And as I say, it's just a one room, but it does feel different sections of that room. It's
that's going to be handy for Waverley in it, because I'm just thinking about
heading 2 minutes from Waverley, literally. Across the road at the very end of Rose Street as well.
We'll get onto it in a minute, but we've got our epic Aberdeen and back, Aberdeen or dead. Trip we are planning for, which is going to be the weekend of the 4th of July. We're going to celebrate.
As long as the trains are running, Bruce and his mates will probably have another strike before then.
So, sorry, Bruce, the other bit that you've just thrown in, we're going to go back down to London, because, again, you had another trip to London where you ticked off the Devonshire, the Harp, the Coach and the Horses, and the Friend at Hand, which, again, I'm trying to think where that is in Farringdon. Near Russell Square.
It's about Farringdon, Russell Square. We got to about Farringdon. It's the most bizarre thing ever. We're on the number, the famous number 15 bus that goes from Tower Bridge up to Farringdon with some friends. Like, oh, 15 might be a route march. It wasn't. But then, and there was a diversion. So the drive to diversion, and it became quite apparent. I think it was hopelessly lost. So they quickly said the bus is broken. You need to get off. We got dropped smack in the centre of Farringdon. I mean, obviously, in the days like Google Maps and things, it's fine. But in the old days, you'd be like, oh, where on earth are we? So we did. So on our way to get to Russell Square, which was the nearest tube station, we did come across a little Muse. Again, one of these from the outside, identical Green King pubs, but a lovely little local.
I think I've been in this pub. I think I used to step in a hotel just round the back from it. Yeah.
But you just think, why, don't you? You know, all these bits of London, these identical looking pubs. It's the strangest thing ever, really. But yeah, that was a cracking little pub towards Russell Square.
I recommend the Premier Inn in Farringdon.
Yeah,
because it's often cheaper, but it's a newer one, and it's a quiet area. But you're on the edge of Holborn as well, and obviously there are cracking pubs in Holborn, certainly Sam Smith's pubs and other pubs as well. So it's halfway between, obviously, that Covent Garden and King's Cross as well. And as you walk back up to King's Cross, you pass by which one is it? The Lion and something? The Young's pub where they have stop screens. So that's a nice little stop-off point if you're walking from the station into the centre. Farrington, Premier Inn, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad location, Farringdon. To be honest, it was a bit of a new one for me.
Yeah.
So we had friends with us. We did go along to the Devonshire, which again was Saturday afternoon. But I mean, Devonshire's a funny place. I mean, you know, it's all of the internet now, isn't it? I mean, it's just extraordinary. It's just a phenomenon. The thing is, you hear it before you see it. I said to my wife's friends, you know, you're gonna here, this before you see it, and there's literally 400 people outside, so it's cacophony and noise. But you can always get a seat
Praying.
inside. And what's astonishing is when you get there, it's almost like going back in time, because every time you go there, everyone's so pleased to be there, and they've got a seat. Everybody kind of speaks to each other. It becomes almost, no one's a stranger in there. It's that old cliche, is it? But there's not another place like it. I find it quite extraordinary. But you meet people from all over the world there, and you have to admire he's just sticking to what he does. The one thing I would say is, though, the very first time I went, the Guinness was like the cream of the gods. Never quite been as good again. And I have to say, this time we went to the Coach and Horses, which just remains, absolutely amazing inside. You're in central London, you've got this astonishing 60s interior, just all the cartoons now paying homage to Geoffrey Bernard. The Guinness in there was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. For me, it was also memorable, but it's got a very, very tiny gents' toilet as a Coach and Horses. And I went for a pee. And when I went in, there was a man literally stood about 3 foot from the urinal. So, of course, I thought, central London, it must be a nutcase. And as you come to the door, you face inside the room. And I have to say, I didn't know where to look.
It wasn't Elephant John, was it, bros?
He had an elephant's trunk for a willy. It was bonkers. It was etched on my memory. I thought it was a man peeing on the floor. Then I realised he wasn't. We had to stand that far back so he could accommodate himself. It was absolutely bonkers. I didn't know where to put myself. And he wasn't a man who looked like just like a normal nerdy man. It was absolutely bizarre. So that was a bit bizarre. But yeah, so that's what you read. Yeah, the Coach and Horses though. It's probably, I think, it's probably our favourite pub in London, isn't it? And it was just a bit sad to see, I think, that it was ticking over, but I think all these pubs are just losing trade because people want to be in the Devonshire, really. And it is a bit sad too. But I tell you what, the Guinness in the Coach
Drinking Guinness
was superb.
Yeah, but I think early evening in like the Coach and Horses late tonight, I bet it's absolutely rammed out there. And like you say, it's same with the Harp. I've been in the Harp when it's been absolutely rammed outside. And then you go inside, it's absolutely deserted because this London thing, isn't it, about standing in the street and drinking.
It is, that's very true. I mean, there's no way you will go to the Devonshire on a Thursday tea time, there's 500 people out there, you think, I'm never getting a seat in that pub. But you will go in and you'll get a seat, and it's just that London phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's strange.
Sat down the offices all day, they want to stand up outside. I suppose you can see why I really can't get.
And again, I'm trying to think where I was the other week. Where I was actually, it was Brewdog, and because of the other section that you've got, lots of pubs is they won't let you go out with a glass, will they? You've got to bloody put your pint into a fucking horrible, dirty plastic thing, and I don't really know why. Because I mean, I've seen most people glass with a plastic glass, the real glass. And again, in London, they let everybody go outside, don't they, and drink in quite boisterous crowds with glasses. So anyway, it's
no, they don't care, do they?
no, one of those really. Yeah, I think with the Guinness, I think it's all about the nitrogen. I've been reading. It's all about the nitrogen mix. And if the pub gets that right.
So the natural ingredients, let's pump full of artificial gas.
You've got to get the gas thing right.
Quality.
In the pump to get it
Shocking.
Right, well, that was a quick whiz around. So we've had a little bit of a real ale on the rails theme there. So as I mentioned, we have got a epic rail trip that we are planning in the first week in July. So no doubt we will catch up on that near the time. I think the plan is that we're going to head up to Edinburgh as early as we can, get to Edinburgh, drinks, and then work our way backwards. I think Dundee is definitely on the list, Edinburgh's on the list, Newcastle, and then obviously back down to York. But
no, we said Durham, didn't we?
Durham. Did we say
Durham,
I don't know. Well, yeah.
Well, we could get off the station at Newcastle, but I'd rather walk out in Durham than walk out in Newcastle, to be honest with you.
We can do both. We can have an hour in Berwick and go to what do you call it, a free trade.
But hell, bro, after 3 pints, you're looking for food.
We're not going to Berwick. Definitely not going to Berwick. I'd rather go.
One fantastic pub there.
We'll go to the Centurion and the Posada in Newcastle, and then we'll get on the train to Durham.
And the free trade, apparently. I'm saving the free trade, so we all go together. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's that one. Nick and I have got we've got a brewery tour around Northern Monk, which we need to get in. So we might be doing that in in June. So that's kind of on the plan coming up. I've got a couple of weekends where the bands we're certainly have to Port Merry on for our residential weekend in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, nice.
So it's drinking's not, but actually there's some nice. They do have a little bar at Port Merry which serves local beer, but it's not on cask. And unfortunately, we're stopping at the Haven, so it'll be it'll be Guinness, I think, for the weekend, which is normally actually all right. I always find Welsh Guinness is always quite nice, actually. I think a lot of people must be a little bit of a Celtic tang there. So I don't know what else.
Must have a different gas there.
Yeah, I know Nick's very busy. It's kind of busy time for him. Bruce will be continuing his travels up and down the railroads of the UK.
Yeah.
Anything else planned, gents?
No, I am going to try and get to Norwich. So I've never been to Norwich. I'm going to try and visit Norwich. And now it's summer. I might try and go to St Andrews and Lucas one day because we don't have time to go.
The other one we've talked about that we must do is Melton Mowbray. So we must try and now we've got that one at Grantham as well. It's a bit of a
that'd be a good trip. Yeah,
I know because is Grantham on the East Coast Main Line?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And you get the bus to Melton Mowbray from Grantham.
So I think we've definitely got to go because that's Turning Point Brewery and obviously the pies. And if I think I remember rightly, I think maybe in the autumn they'd actually do a combination of pies and beer. The brewery host when they have it. I'll check when that is. And that's there. And now we've seen that really nice pub on the station at Grantham. That's a bit more of an incentive, isn't it, to do?
Yeah, that'd be quite fun, that one. I mean, Grantham was famous because it had the last real beehive pub signs, a pub they called the Beehive.
Margaret Thatcher.
In Grantham.
And was there,
I think it was until 1973, it was an actual live beehive, was the pub sign.
And then there's that pub in the Workshop Mallard as well, looks very nice. Which again, that workshop can't be far off the East Coast Main Line because the Mallard link.
Oh, yeah, you could get there, yeah.
Mallard was broad in Donny, wasn't he? And as we mentioned, we've got our Northern Rail tickets. So Nick and I had a quick discussion. It'd be nice to try and get up to the lakes. But I'm fancying Preston, Bruce. I've not really been to Preston with you, Per. I know you, Per, have been a few times. It's a long time since I've been to Preston.
Then from there, I mean that line we could do Hebden Bridge.
Food Market in Preston looked good, didn't it, Bruce? We only had a whistle stop tour there.
Yeah, I mean Hebden Bridge has a couple of good ones. Sowerby Bridge has a couple of good ones, and actually the chap who does the Great Ale Great Pubs YouTube channel. I mean I go to Halifax a bit, but he went to 2 or 3 places I'd never heard of Halifax. So along that line, you could actually do that live, say Preston, Hebden Bridge, Sowerby Bridge, Halifax. Have a top day out, and it's just great pub.
Yeah, but there's at least 5 decent spots in Preston.
Yeah, for me, I'd come up the West Coast line, Manchester, and then go north. So I think if we crack on, get to Windermere for the first train, almost into Windermere, or whatever your connections would be, and then we work back from Windermere maybe. And if that's
it's doable, you don't get long.
It's a bit too far. It's Windermere a bit too.
Yeah, there's not a lot from no point going to Staveley anymore now, though, is there?
No, there's no point.
Kendall's easier. And once again, there's a couple of places in Kendall.
It takes us, me and Nick, though, 12 hours 40 minutes to get to Preston to get to the lakes, which is a
I think Preston. We're back from Preston because, like you say, we potentially got Rochdale, Bolton, Wigan.
Yeah. I don't think we'll go back to Bolton. We'll go back to Bolton, will we, Bruce?
No, do you know, 2 weeks after I went with you, I had to go back again because we went to watch Shelton. I couldn't believe I was back there. And oh my God, I left the pub at 5 o'clock and I walked down that pedestrian precinct and it was deserted. I mean, it's
you found another place for food where people don't have any teeth, did you, Bruce? Where you just eat much.
They're very famous because Bolton's famous for these pasties. This is the oldest one, and I saw the prices like 120, 130. I thought, this would be better than last time. Oh my God, they were horrible. They were like a grey potato, toothpaste stuff in them, but they're queuing out the door for them. Yeah, but
they've got no teeth, Bruce. That's why. It's like baby food. They just suck it down.
Before we get sued by the people of Bolton, I'm gonna bring our
buzzers over there
to an end. Till the next time, till 6 with no idea what that's going to be about.
Ruby Mild was delicious. It was delicious. Recommend it. My top 5 bottle beers. Ruby Mild. Get on it.
Now. We've lost all order.
Yeah, that Calderdale line is